I would say, obviously, there's two sides to this because people might want to start their own small press. I would honestly say don't, but you might want to, so I'll give you advice.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. We all know it's important to support independent publishers, and I did another video on this which I'll link down below. Isabelle Kenyon is the managing director of Fly on the Wall Press, and she's answering some questions for us today, so hope you find it useful and enjoy.
My name's Isabelle Kenyon and I run Fly on the Wall Press. We're a press based in Manchester and we're a socially conscious publisher, which means that everything we do will be with ethical conduct in mind. It will represent underrepresented writers, and every single book will have a social conscience, have a message to tell you, and have that political edge to it. Yes, so my job title is a managing director. As a small press, a lot of what I do on a day-to-day is very varied. So I might start my day probably checking emails, tracking any book orders. I'll go and prepare them for taking to the post office later. Then I might move on to author emails. So that will be like going through rounds of edits. Once we've done the edits on Word, we'll move to typesetting. So I do the design work as well. Honestly, because it's cheaper, but as I've gone along, I do enjoy it. This is something which is self-taught. Everything was self-taught, to be fair. So I'll go on and do some typesetting. And then obviously a few books a day. I'll be sort of prepping for print to send to my distributor or to send to my printer. So some stock I'll have in my house and some stock I will do print on demand, and that'll be external to any online retailer. So yeah, things like metadata for that. There will be, and this is genuinely every day, I know this sounds like a lot of things, but I will go from one task to another. So marketing is a big part of what I do. I think there is no point in a small press releasing an excellent book if you're not going to put the effort behind it with marketing. So I will be emailing book bloggers, influencers, literary journals, national newspapers. Obviously in a small press you are really competing for space in the nationals and the magazines and the things like that. You know, it's invaluable. One day, you know, it will pay off. So I do that as well. Yeah, on a day-to-day it will be liaising with people as well. So just keeping in communication, making sure we're on track for everything, and doing little perks as well, like talking to people on social media is, I think, a big part of why a small press exists. The personality will sell you books, and it's really nice to have that personal connection with readers. So that is something that I spend a long time doing. So I think if you are going to manage your own small press, the first thing, honestly, I think one of the most important things is probably budgeting, being good with money. The ironic thing is that maths is like my least favourite subject ever, but I really enjoy actually having a budget, allocating it, sticking to it, tracking it on spreadsheets. I never thought I'd enjoy spreadsheets, but I genuinely do. And I think being able to allocate a marketing budget and being creative on almost £0, I usually work with £0 for a marketing budget if I don't have Arts Council. And not much more when I do. I've only had it once so far, but you know, being creative with money and being able to manage it well and think about growth, progression and business management, super important. Then linking onto marketing, you've got to have a really good brand. You've got to know how to build that brand, so your budgets and your branding are working together. And I think that growth plan, you know, ultimately is so important because small presses go under all the time. Making sure you can differentiate yourself and you know how to reach the right audiences. And also a growth plans to reach audiences that you're currently not reaching. So I know that for me, you know, COVID, there are people who don't have Wi-Fi that 100% are our audience. So how do I reach them, you know, without money? Obviously PR, and PR for a small press is really difficult, but it's all these things, creative challenges. You have to be able to take on big challenges, think about big ideas. You have to be able to organise it. And then you have to have really good communication and be personable to your authors and take care of them. And that's a big thing about what I want to do. I would say, obviously, there's two sides to this because people might want to start their own small press. I would honestly say don't, but you might want to, so I'd give you advice. Just in general, working for a small press might be a thing that I could give advice on. If you want to start your own small press, I do have a book about this. We published it 2020. Losing track of years and days and of the week, I'm sure everyone is at the moment. So it's called Small Press Publishing, The Do's and Don'ts. But basically, in a nutshell, I would say you need to have a really strong brand, because even the small press market is very convoluted, and there's not much space to innovate. So if you've 100% got something which is brand new, do it. I say do it, but you will be working 7 days a week. You will be stressed. You will have, you'll be learning a lot. There are people out there that will help you, but you do have to, go on YouTube, get the books, lots of internet research. If you've got time for a big project, then I'd say do it. If not, I would say work for a small press, if that's the sort of personal way that you want to go. Working for a small press, I think, is super valuable, because small presses will give you a lot of agency. You're probably not going to have one role, for example. I was a bit mind blown when I realised that in big publishers, sometimes they allocate a role, which is like reviews for a book, like just reviews, source reviews for this book with book bloggers on like NetGalley. I was like, what? This is a real job? Because, that's like 0.1% of what I might do in a day. And I was like, someone pays them? Like, yeah, it just blew my mind, really. So 100% you will have a much wider job role than that in a small press. You have to be ready for the responsibility, and you have to be organised, because small presses move fast. But yeah, so I would say advice. A lot of people come to me and they say they want a job in publishing. And I say, okay, well, what would you want to do for us? What do you want to do for work experience? A lot of people don't know. They say, oh yeah, I'll do anything. It's like, that's not actually helpful. So if you can sit down and look at all the different sides of publishing, if you can say, oh, I want to work in rights, or I want to work in PR, if you can give yourself skills as well. So if you can get yourself design software if you can, and start learning how to use that, follow YouTube tutorials, that kind of thing. Google Garage, or Garage. But yeah, look it up, because it's got lots of things about SEO, and that will be really helpful. Things like metadata, look up Nielsen database, just learn all the things about the industry, which are really important to trade and like expansion, and be able to talk about them. Yeah, try and get work experience, but I would say that you can do things to do with publishing that are going to be valuable without being part of publishing. So it could be that you're working for a marketing company. So because I worked in theatre, I think obviously those industries are linked. So you could work in the arts in general. Arts marketing is super useful. The First Bad Man by Miranda July. Miranda July, like, I feel she probably is not everyone's cup of tea, but because she's so weird, like her prose is strange and her characters are odd, but I think that's the best thing about it. Why would you want to read something where the characters, are pretty standard, normal, don't have very original thoughts? In this book, the main character is just a little bit, like, her mental health is not always steady, and she does have weird delusions, but at the same time she's so lovable. Yeah, she's happy in doing these really strange things, like she starts fights with her tenant who doesn't even pay any money and happens to be her boss's daughter. And yeah, it just becomes really strange. It's like this middle-aged woman who's properly having fights with this, like, I think she's 15, 16, the girl. The girl really enjoys beating her up. So it's like, what am I reading? But at the same time, it's just, you can't put it down. So I would say, yeah, read weird fiction. Read Miranda July.
Thank you for watching. I'm leaving Isabelle and Fly on the Wall Press's details in the description box below.